Hello and welcome to the first video of Compost Coffee Creations. What we're going to look at is how you can create compost bays out of recycled material, create excellent compost by using a golden rule of 3, 2 and 1, which is 3 browns, and you'll see in a moment all the leaves that you can use in most properties, 2 greens, and they can be either cuttings from the garden or green waste from the house, and 1 unit of coffee grounds that often come from cafes. We've used coffee grounds for the last 20 years to create some of the richest compost that you can find. Fortunately, we've been able to set up the compost bays on this property 1.5 hours north of Sydney. It's a area where we have sheep, many other animals, and the benefit of having this space is we can just continue to expand the compost bins. This is the global headquarters of Cultured Artisans, which is a global company that looks at teaching people how to ferment, whether that's sauerkraut, kimchi, also drinks, milk kefir, water kefir, and the really powerful Master Tonic. Enjoy the series, and we'll now look at how you can build the bays from recycled material and enjoy your compost journey.
The exciting thing about using coffee to create your compost is that virtually everything is available to you on your property, on the area around you, in community gardens. And let me just talk through the different elements you need to create your compost bins. As you can see from the photo, we've got pallets that we've got from the local Blendco roaster. A roaster is the person that actually takes the coffee beans, creates the environment where the coffee is created, and the waste for that is husks, which we use in our mix of brown. The second thing that you'll need is either star pickets or bamboo, so that when you get the pallets you can actually hold them up, and we'll work through those in a moment. The green bag has got the brown, which we'll put in 3 parts. The next bag has got the greens, which go in 2, and then you'll see the blue bucket, which has the unit of the coffee grounds from a coffee cafe nearby. So once we start the process, what I look for is a reasonably shaded area and a flat area that I can start to do the actual star pickets and then the sides of the bay. Once you do the first star picket and you put the first pallet in place, the rest of it comes together quite quickly. And again, once the second pallet is put in place, it's very quick to then put the middle pallet in. Then we level out the ground to get the next pallet across the back. And then once we've got the next pallet across the back, we'll then do the final one, in this case on the right hand side. And as you can see, it is a very tidy position to have 2 bays where you can use 1 bay to start your compost, and the second bay is allowing you then, as I use it for, is to turn the compost on a weekly basis. Here you can see that we've started with the browns, which will be 3 parts. And once we've got the first lot of browns in, we then do the greens, which is 2 parts. And as we apply the greens, we also mix that with the brown. The next thing you'll see is we'll bring over the coffee grounds, and we start to basically move them through the actual bay itself. And throughout, we continue to water. And the watering is just to keep it damp. It's not designed to make it wet. And if you start to see any runoff of that, it tells you you've added too much water. We then continue the process of adding more browns more greens and more coffee. So we start to build up the actual compost itself. And as you can see, we also will inoculate the compost with, for us, really good soil from another part of the property, and that just is again added to the process. We keep adding more water because we want it nice and damp before the final thing is that we put the Hessian sacks in place. The Hessian sacks also came from Blenco coffee roasters because it allows us to reuse the sacks, and they're fantastic in many other parts of the garden in use. So even though we're using them here, we do use them in other parts of the garden. Again, we keep the water on, and you'll see there the dry Hessian sacks, and then you can see them damp, and they're damp but not wet. And as in all good compost bin creations, the final part is enjoying the work that you've done. We've been fortunate that we had the team from Blenco, also the team from the local Narara Eco Village, all helping to make this a great success. And obviously my dog Tiger likes the limelight, so she had to come into the final photo. Good luck in your journey going ahead. The second video will look at the next part of the process, and all the best. Look at some of the resources I've mentioned and look at how they might be applicable in your region or area or country. The first one is Blenco, and I'm excited that we've got a coffee roaster who sees their responsibility in not only producing fine coffee for cafes and restaurants, but helping the cafe and restaurants take the spent coffee grounds and view it as a resource, not a waste, and look at how that can be value add, in this case through compost. The second one we mentioned was Narara Eco Village. It's a real global model of what can happen when community comes together and starts to say we can accomplish more to create a better environment by working together, and it's a great example of that. The third one is Zaytuna Farm, and here you'll see there's a couple of YouTube clips. One is about Jeff Lawton, who is considered the international guru and godfather of permaculture, talking about the impact of soil and why we have to do everything we can to be able to create stronger soil, better growing soil, and in this case it's through the use of compost. And his second video talks about the application of the compost, and again he goes a lot more detail of the benefit of browns and greens and the carbon and nitrogen that you'll have in each of the different mixes. The last one as a resource is Costa, a Logie-winning gardener from ABC Gardening, and where I've looked at creating compost bins in large space, many acres, he's showing you how to do it in someone's backyard, which is a great way to look at how you can create the compost that you want, whether you've got acres as we do or you live in a suburban standard lot size. And obviously the last one is Gordian Business, which when I'm not producing the best compost in the world, I'm consulting and working with my B2B clients, and that'll just give you a little bit more information about what I do at a professional level. Thank you.